911, what are you reporting?
We got someone or something crawling around out here.
Does a legend walk among us, lurking in the forests of our world?
Did you see what it was? Was it a person or an animal or?
I can't tell. All I know is that my sensor light came on and I just happened to glimpse and see this thing running across the yard. A good-sized man or something. It looks like a man. I don't know what it was.
For over 15 years, we've talked with scientists, researchers, investigators, and witnesses, trying to gain insight and proof around the existence of this mysterious entity.
Jesus Christ, you better...
Sure.
Tia!
Hello?
Get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh. Okay, hang on.
He's right...
Is he in your yard, sir?
Yeah, God, he's big.
Okay, what's he doing in your yard?
He's looking at me.
Join us as we continue into the investigation of the Sasquatch experience. And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sasquatch experience. That was pretty neat, wasn't it, guys? It was pretty cool.
Oh, I'm impressed.
It's
Play it
great.
again. No, just kidding.
No, it's good. 44
This
seconds.
is enough per show.
To announce who we are. Folks, I'm Sean Forker. Over to my, right, left is Vance Nesbitt. Below him is Henry May. And joining us tonight for part 2 of our Uwharrie special, of course, is the amazing Julie Rench, who has brought some tantalizing audio for us again here tonight. Folks, thanks for joining us, watching on our Experiencers page, Sasquatch Experience Facebook page, and Sasquatch Experience Live on YouTube, where you can catch us at least for the foreseeable future as we try to generate a little bit more interest into the program here. You know, the Bigfoot, I can't talk tonight. The Bigfoot Podcasting Classic, broadcasting to you since 2005. That's a long time ago, Henry, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's why it says created by Sean Forker and Henry May down at the bottom. Mm-hmm. But it's exciting. We're glad to have Julie back with us tonight. Folks, you can join us, as always, by going to our website, SasquatchExperience.com. Follow us on our social media pages, Sasquatch Experience on Facebook, Instagram, Squatch EXP on Twitter. By the way, guys, our Twitter really getting inundated with new listeners. Really appreciate the social connections there, and we are socially active. We like to connect with our listeners each and every week on a myriad of platforms. However we can get you, that's how we like it to be. Vance, I'm going to pass it to you as I get behind the audio console, and we'll get this going tonight, my friend.
Well, first off, hello, and thanks to everyone being here. Of course, we're doing part 2. And if you've had the pleasure of listening into part 1 with Julie in the audio in which she has recorded on her property, pretty fascinating stuff. Tonight, I think we're going to be taking it a little bit in a different direction because some of this stuff was at least cataloged more of a EVP. There's a little bit more dialogue and dialect that I've picked up from these recordings. Julie and myself and Henry and Sean, we've shared in on some of this. We all kind of come to the same consensus as to what some of this stuff is actually, at least how we interpret it as far as the verbiage goes. So, Julie, thank you so much for joining us. And for part 2, you doing okay?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me back.
Sir, pleasure.
You know, I had, this is exciting stuff. I mean, this is for Sasquatch Experience to be bringing this forth. This is kind of groundbreaking. I know a lot of people have come up with audio, but this is kind of groundbreaking because it takes off on so many different paths and avenues, so to speak, as far as what is actually being captured. And, I had a thought process, Julie, going back this past week and watching some of the videos from Skinwalker Ranch and the Shermans, stating that some of the audio, or at least what they heard in voices, seemed to be coming from above their head. Is there any way you can discern which direction these audio that you're picking up in recordings are actually coming from? I had just immediately assumed it was coming from the back of the property. But have you dove into that thought process at all to figure that out?
Well, this is definitely, we're definitely going to go down the rabbit hole here. And a lot of this was recorded, again, if people watched the last show, the most active time is between 1 and 3 p.m. My recorder is always on my back deck, facing the west side of our property. And, when a lot of this is being recorded, I'm not out there, so I can't be for sure where it's coming from. But there are a couple on here that, I was actually at the fire pit with Jeff when these were recorded. But at the time when we were at the fire pit, we did not hear anything, but the recorder did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, that's kind of a fascinating thought right now. I mean, Henry, how do you explain that? How does something that's recording audio pick something up, but yet audible, you don't hear it? This kind of blows my mind.
Really good question. And could it possibly be infrasound?
Oh. Mm-hmm. That's a thought.
Yeah, I guess that, a digital recorder could probably pick up a frequency in hertz more than the human ear could. That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, but you'd think that in the spectrometer that, they use to analyze it, those frequencies would be detectable.
Mm-hmm.
It would show up. You'd think. I don't know, but you'd think it would.
Well, you have your own software now, don't you, Julie, where you look at this or listen to it, rather?
Yeah. And, a lot of these are going to be very similar to the last audio I shared with you guys. Some of the undulating vocals, chatter, what we call singing, the Wookiee voice, all of that is considered to be, could be potentially from what people call a Bigfoot creature. I can't say I know for sure what's making these sounds. I will never claim I know because I wasn't there watching what made these sounds. This was in the middle of the night. Most times I'm not out there that late. So, but I have looked at everything on spectrograph as well, and there are some very unusual signatures on some of these. And what's really weird is some of them sound like they're like super close to the recorder. But then when you look at it in the signature, the spectrograph signature, it looks very faint. It's not anything that was right up next to the recorder, obviously, but it sounds like it was.
Well, that's interesting, though, because it could depend on the placement of the microphone on the recorder. You know what I mean? If you don't have like an omnidirectional microphone, depending on where it's located while it's picking up that sound, it may appear to be further or closer based upon how that microphone's angled or designed to capture that sound. Something to think about.
Well, that's the reason why I had brought up, the Sherman Ranch or Skinwalker, however you want to refer to it, because several times they said they heard it coming from above them when they were outside. And I suppose with an omnidirectional, you might be able to get a better sense as to where it's actually coming from. But it would seem to me, Julie, you're probably just, like you said, you point that microphone to the west and you just let it go for the night, assuming it's coming from the back end of the property.
Right. And, people have to understand these clips are from hundreds and hundreds of hours worth of audio. I have, like I said last time, over 500 different clips of interest. And we're talking out of, I can't even, usually when I record, it's eight hours long at least. So you're usually lucky if you find 2 or 3 things that are unusual. Sometimes I have found up to like say 12 things that are unusual in one recording overnight. So it just, but I'll tell you some of the ones I'm sharing with you tonight, really creepy. There's names being called out. One to include my name. Another is Jeff's name. Actually, you can hear something calling our names. That was very unnerving.
I say we jump into it. What do you say, Sean?
Okay.
Want to jump into at least an audio and we'll go
I'm
from
ready
there?
when you are. I have the first one queued up here as per requested. And Julie, whenever you're ready, just tell me to go ahead.
Okay. And I did want to say one thing, though, when you said that it sounded like it was being, coming from above. Now, I do have a clip that I was saving for our next show because there's some clips I'm saving for our last show that are just really, yeah, I don't even know how to explain it. But the one that I did record did come from up above me, and I heard it. And when I turned around, there was nothing there, but the audio recorder caught it. And
Wow.
I'm sharing that one next with you guys on the next show. That's one I'm saving for the last part.
Cool.
But as far as this first one, this was recorded in November. It was actually November 4th of 2020. And you guys know who Adam Davis is, I'm sure. And Mike Richburg and Vanessa Hogel, they were all at my house. And we were all out the fire pit. And we heard some things out there, but you couldn't discern what was being said or if anything was actually being said. We just heard some unusual noises. This was something I caught that was rather late, and I do not believe we were outside at this time. I think this one was around 2 in the morning, and we had gotten in around 1 a.m. that night. And I'm not sure what it's being said, but it almost sounds like partially human and then partially digital, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, that's one I caught when Adam and everybody was at my house.
Brought to David Ellis, correct?
Yes, David.
Okay.
Now he will listen to the clips. Some of these he found himself, and then others I found and sent to him. But some of them he has like taken out some background noise so that you can hear the subject matter better. Some of them you can still hear the dogs or the coyotes behind it. So it just kind of depends on what your subject matter is. If it's being overwhelmed by a background sound, he will try to feather that out more. But on some of these less is more. So it just depends on what the need would be for each particular clip.
Okay, so then when you hear a clip, do you get like this knee-jerk reaction of an image in your head of what's creating that sound? I let me kind of back up a little bit. Sometimes I'll hear something around the house and I'll assume it's a dog, it's a cat, it's a raccoon, whatever, and that image kind of goes through my head. And then okay, I find out that's what it is, or no, it was something completely different. But do you have like this knee-jerk image that pops in your head when you hear something going, what is actually creating that? Because on some of the clips that we listened to on the first show that we did with you, I get these images of like this ghostly looking Sasquatchy thing, kind of white. And I don't know, that's just what flies through my head. But I'm wondering if you have any type of immediate thought of images in your head when you hear some of this stuff.
Well, I can say that some of these, some of the last ones I played, whatever it is, and listening to it, it has a hell of a lung capacity, and
Mm-hmm.
it's probably something larger than normal man size to be able to make those sounds, and for that extent period of time. But then when I catch these other whispers and back and voice talking to each other, things that aren't there, I mean, I don't even know what to make of that. I mean, I know that where I live is just saturated with quartz. I know I talked about that before, and that could have some residual stuff going on. You know, because our area is, you know, of course, very old. It was inhabited by natives 13,000 years ago. So,
Right.
you know, there's been a lot of things happen there.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. And, you know, there's many that I contact throughout the community that, you know, they bring up the same thing too with granite and quartz. It seems to have some sort of property that kind of brings out a little bit more in what we're going to call paranormal. Just because we haven't discovered it yet doesn't mean it's not actually happening. So, yeah, I guess it makes sense. And you did say in the first show that there's a huge quartz deposit in that area in the Uwharrie, correct?
Oh, yeah.
If you guys didn't get to hear on the first show that Julie was with us, she's right outside the Uwharrie National Forest in North Carolina. And speaking of which, I actually read a story today that there was a couple in North Carolina that witnessed a Bigfoot creature. They didn't understand what it was at first because it was a roadside sighting, and then they drove past it and then turned around and went back and saw it at about 100 yards away, and then they realized it was a Bigfoot. My only question to that is, if you turned around to go back, why wasn't your camera ready to go? Because you're going back to see what it was, and they didn't have any pictures of it. Of course, Matt Moneymaker jumped on that and said, no, it's legitimate. It's a real story. Oh, okay. You know, that's fine. I'm not going to say it was or wasn't, but if you saw something and you stop the car to turn around and go back, don't you think you might say, hey, grab my phone, turn the camera on, let's see if we can capture this thing? But no, that didn't happen. But oddly enough, that was still in your neighborhood.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, though, that from what I understand, because I've never seen one of these things. And for those people who I've talked to who actually had the opportunity, they could have taken a video, they could have taken a picture. That was like the furthest thing from their mind while they were standing there looking at this thing. They were so much in shock that it even existed, and it changed their whole perspective on life in just a few seconds flat. That was really the least of their concerns, just trying to process what they were seeing. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's just what I've talked to people who, and then after the fact, they're like, damn, I was sitting there with the phone in my back pocket, you know, and they didn't.
Right. And that would probably be how I would go about the whole thing anyway, just mess it all up. A question was asked in the chat. Was it Bryson City, North Carolina? You know, that sounds familiar. I could go back, and I think that would be correct. It would be. And it didn't happen just recently. I think this was, you know, posted recently, but it was about a year ago. I think that happened. But Moneymaker
that was
on that one.
I think that was on the west side of the Uwharrie on 2427 route, 2427.
Mm-hmm. Right. Wow. Well, either way, everything that's going on around that national forest, you know, the expanse of that land out there is, and like I brought up before, it's not just the national forest, it's the public lands that are adjacent to it. And what was it, Henry? I think I came up with something like, 5 million square miles or something. It was crazy. The square mileage out there. So yeah, I could imagine that there would be some sort of creepy thing out there.
Yeah.
Have you ever, given consideration, especially who your significant other is, and we won't jump too far down that, but setting up some sort of maybe a trip flare or something along those lines that might alert you to something making its way through the property back there? Or is that just too much of a hazard?
Well, we have talked about a lot of different things that could be done, but then when I go back there, I'm not finding whatever is making these sounds is staying mostly in the woods surrounding the wood line that comes up to my property. So it's not like these things are, dragging their knuckles up to my back door. They are at a distance, and they seem to be staying at the same distance from where we are on purpose, because I can, once in a while, I can look out to the back of our property, and I could swear I'm seeing something like a dark shadow go through the trees, from left to right. A lot of times it always seems like left to right, and it's heading northern direction. But for me to run out there and try to follow it, first of all, that is not my property. My property ends right where the tree line ends, and then the forest starts. That's not my property, so I really don't feel comfortable just traipsing around other people's property. But yeah, we've thought about. I do have game cams up. I have the no flash game cam set up. Still, if anything's coming on our game trail, we have a game trail that goes by the creek. If anything's coming through there, it is not picking up on my game cams.
Right. Well, I see we have somebody joining us from Manitoba, eh? Oh, yeah, in the chat room.
Corey.
No, we know who that is. Yeah, no, we know
Corey.
who that is.
Yes, Corey.
Welcome aboard, Corey. We're glad to have you here. Thanks for jumping aboard. Because we were talking about you in the pre-show. All good things, of course. Everything. It was all good, and we're happy for your new status. So, yeah. Let's see. Somebody else said we have quartz veins all over up here. Oh, it must be in Manitoba also. Okay, that makes sense. And show up for. Hey, they live everywhere, right? Yes, I think so. They do live everywhere. I don't know. I haven't seen one either. Julie, you did send a photograph, though, and I think that was shared with Sean. I don't know if Henry, if you had a chance to see it yet, but it was shared with Sean about something that you did capture that was just kind of this black shadowy thing. I was like, well, that's a change your pantaloons moment right there. I would have been back at the house real quick. Yeah, I'm telling you that.
Yeah, that was something I took a picture of back there, and that was quite a distance from where I was standing, and I didn't notice it at the time I took the picture, and that's what really freaked me out. But the area where I took that is the exact place where I caught an EVP that I was with my mom back there, and we were talking, and actually it's one of the ones I was going to play tonight, but a very crystal clear EVP right in that same area. Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, sounds like you got it together there. Yeah.
All right.
Did.
I think I heard it.
I think I figured it out. Let me try that one more time, guys.
That's okay. This is why we have a Patreon, because we need an engineer. Yep. Okay. We got the audio. Now we just need to see your smiling face.
I think we can pause on that. I looked like Satan a few moments ago. And that was
why all the times does it have to happen now?
Well, because, that's live for you. But, hey, guess what? We got it back, and now I figured out what I need to do.
Okay.
Hey.
Okay, so what you just played, Sean, was this what you were referring to, Julie?
No, that was the first one we were going to play that happened when Adam, Vanessa, and Mike Richburg were at my place.
Okay.
Yeah.
You able to play that again?
Yeah, that one sounds like to me almost like human vocals, and then it turns into some type of digital thing.
Yeah. Which one are we going to play now, guys? You want me to play that one more time?
This one, 20114.
201. Okay, I got it. There we go. And that's the end of that clip.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just real quick so that everybody's on board. If you missed this the last time, these are looped. So it's not repeating the same thing over and over. They're looped 4 or 5 times so that you can kind of discern instead of having to hit stop, go back and listen to it again.
Right.
Yeah.
Julie did that for us, or David did that for us, or both did that for us. And it does make it so much easier to kind of hear the same thing over. But yeah, it's a WTF audio. I mean, what's doing that on your property? Seriously.
Right. Yeah, and you know what is weird to me? It sounds like something saying, "Bring me into the light."
Oh, okay. Now that you mention that, I could see that. Not that I want to, but I could see it saying that.
Neither did I. Okay, so the next one is called Singing, and I'm not sure what would be making this sound, but that's kind of what we called it.
All right, here we go. The singing. Well, that's pretty ethereal right there. I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah. I've listened to that one probably. Well, that's one of the few clips I listen to probably the most because it's so haunting. And, you know, just with those that are very close to me and significant other, you know, she felt too that this is something maybe not Sasquatch. It could be a spirit or something along those lines, which I know that this is part of the questions in which you're asking yourself and I'm asking too. It does have very spiritual aura about it. If that's even a good word to use, I'm not sure, but yeah, kind of creepy though. You hear that? No. Yeah, I'm in the car. Backing up.
Right. All right. So I'm not going to try to get through this real super quick, but I know we only have about a half an hour to go. So I'll try to get in as many as I can. This next one is called Chatter, and it's 702-0173.
Chatter.
Yeah.
Now that sounds almost sing-songy as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more Sasquatch-like in presentation than some of the other ones that we've heard, right? Than that singing. Maybe I've never heard or seen a Sasquatch sing, so you never know. But that is a little bit more than what we're accustomed to. Very interesting, that one.
Yeah.
Now, somebody in the chat just said, not an animal.
Well, we don't know. We don't know. We would.
No.
Lots of
it's just an opinion, and it's a fair opinion.
That could have been Vance and he, for all we know. And trust me, folks, he's an animal.
Yeah.
Really? How would you know?
I hear things, It's
Right.
Rumors.
rumor and innuendo, right?
Uh-huh.
Show rumor and innuendo. It's impressive. That one is definitely a little bit more along the lines of what we're used to, but interesting because it does sound chattery, right? That one's actually got some conversation going on with something.
Okay, so real quick, just because I'm throwing it out there, this is part of the stuff that I wrote down in my notebook here. You have a bipedal creature. Let's just say, okay, its existence is there. You have a bipedal creature. It has an intelligent level. It passes on. Why would it not have a ghostly spirit, just like they claim with ghost hunters? Oh, this is a girl from the Victorian period, and we captured. Okay, well, why not a Sasquatch have a spirit or a ghost floating around in the woods? I can't see that being that far out of the realm, especially if it has a conscious.
Right.
All right.
Well,
I
it's good that you say that because Vanessa Hogel, the psychic girl that came out with Adam and Mike, she actually the exact same thing that you just said, only she didn't present it as a question. She presented it as a statement.
No. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I appreciate that because now I don't feel so
that
weird.
really freaks me out. I'm like, what? I've never heard of such a thing, but I certainly don't know everything. So,
right.
It would make sense. It would make sense. Animals have spirits just like humans do.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever Sasquatch are, they may have spirits just like we do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm kind of taking it a little bit further than that to separate the animal from the human spectrum, not out of selfishness, but more of consciousness. We as humans understand what consciousness is, or at least we grasp the idea, and maybe a Sasquatch grasps the idea of consciousness also. And if it were to pass on, it may have a design on what to do after death. And some might not know where to go, like bring me to the light or just hang out in the area it's most familiar with. I know we're really kind of getting off tangent, but let's get into this next audio.
All right. So the next one is an undulating whoop.
Undulating whoop. Again, a classic right there. That typical presentation that we're used to. I don't know. I got somebody in the chat says you have a bipedal creature that can create all these voices. I can't see their names. I don't know if you can traditionally, but folks, just so you know, if you comment, you have to allow StreamYard to see your comments so we can see what's going on here, because all we get is Facebook user. We don't get your name, so I'm sorry if I can't read your name, but I will post it right there so people can see it.
Can create all these voices. I don't know how to answer that because some of the stuff you're going to hear is no way a Sasquatch creature could be making sounds, especially since that was recorded when I was standing there and we didn't hear a thing. So,
and to be fair, when Julie's presented these to us, she's never said they were all Sasquatch either. She just said these are some audio files I've collected from some unidentified sources on my property. That's how it's always been presented. We're presenting it to you with the same presentation. Of course, we're going to give you commentary and opinion because that's why you listen, I hope, or you're just here for us to be a great cassette player. So Next one is, I mean, and with that, not to jump too far ahead, again, like I said, classical presentation. You get some power out of those sounds, though. For something not being quite so close, you can really get some depth of sound from it.
No, I totally agree with that because even some of this that you've recorded isn't the roar or typical, oh, wow, that's it. But there's still that lung capacity that's involved because you can hear the echo. And it seems like it goes for miles off in the background. Right. Even though it's on a recording, you can tell there's some serious power pushing out that decibels. It's crazy.
Yeah, definitely a 2-pack a dayer right there. Mm-hmm. Or it. I'm sorry.
It.
What it is.
Right.
Okay, so this next one, guys, it's called Back and Forth. But let me tell you, the vocals that are caught in this, I have heard these exact vocals out of the fire pit. Okay. Mostly, a lot of times by myself when it's late and dark and I'm out there and all of a sudden this starts ripping off. And then a lot of times it starts in the west and then it moves to the north and then it moves off to the northeast of where I'm at. But it's the same type of real, I can't even explain it. You'll just have to play it. But I've heard these in different capacities many, many times. This one I just happened to be one of my favorites, and I call it a back and forth because I believe there's more than one source.
Interesting. Okay. Here we go. Back and forth. Yeah, that one's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That you can definitely hear that kind of bouncing around, multiple, back and forth. And I think there's enough distinction between the sounds to firmly say it's probably more than one creature.
Right.
Right.
And then when you play that on the spectrograph, you can also see the whatever's making the sounds are overlapping in some parts there. One is not finished yet and the other one comes into it. So, that's why it's so important to not only listen to your audio, but to look at it through spectrograph and begin to study, the different signatures of different vocalizations that you get. And then you can start identifying, oh, look, that's the same vocal signature as this one I had over here. And then you start adding it all up and you see a pattern.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree with that. Since we've had that conversation in the past, that's why I'm just kind of like nonchalant about it. Yeah, we've had this conversation and I totally agree with it.
Oh, you'd have to, you have all this, you could drive yourself nuts listening to all this time after time after time, and then not having anything to kind of, corroborate what you're trying to send out there. I mean, when you have it on a spectrograph, you can see what you're listening to. Like, even for me, it's kind of hard, but you kind of close your eyes, as I've been doing, and listen, you start to get the mental picture painted of, what's going on. So definitely that was pretty interesting.
So, Sean, let me ask you, did you get a sense of male or female from that last audio?
Again, it's hard to say, right? Mm-hmm. We don't know what a female Sasquatch sounds like. We don't know what a male Sasquatch sounds like. Assume.
No, I'm not looking for a definitive answer. It's just what your knee-jerk is. Or Henry, what would you say, male, female, or maybe hermaphrodite.
I'm with Sean. It's hard to tell.
Mhm.
It's really I've heard vocalizations, and I couldn't tell you heads or tails. I can't make heads or tails whether they were male or female.
Mhm.
So,
And sometimes you have a hard time with humans, and that's a
Oh,
standard.
sure.
Yeah.
To
Oh,
be
yeah.
honest,
Yeah.
and that's not a political thing. I'm just saying, like,
Oh,
I've
thank
talked
God.
to many people on the phone where it's like, well, thank you, sir. It's ma'am. Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah. It happens to me all the time.
Right.
Very intense. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it just happens, right? But if I listen to it more, and maybe you would need a little bit more data for me to make that. It's a fair question, Vance. I'm not saying that. I just think I would need a little bit more before I could be comfortable giving some sort of assessment.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good comment right there. Oh, I always found the sounds you play as to a couple thousand miles north. I find this all unique. Tons of things exist.
Wow.
Yeah, this is true.
That's pretty cool.
This is very true.
Julie, to the point, like these sounds that you have are very reminiscent of what we've heard from other parts of the country and potentially around the world, right? Like it's always interesting to me because that to me points to an existence of something.
Mhm.
Yes.
You have all these people in different places collecting these sound files of something, and you can't explain what they are. Well, that in itself, you start to build a body of evidence that gets really compelling and hard to dissuade. And I think what you're doing and what some others are doing out there, you gets us closer to an existence of a creature without needing a body. And it's really important that this work continues. And that's why we're having it on the show and putting it out there because, damn, I hit my microphone, because this is, really research in its truest form. Like you're trying to discover a creature without a physical means. That's pretty difficult to do. Almost impossible by today's scientific standards.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and let me say this: David Ellis from the Olympic Project. He's the person that has assisted me with this project for over 3.5 years now. And he does have quite the collection that people have sent him from all over the country and beyond. And there's some people who have these things that live on their property that's actually seen them, who are actually recording the same type of sounds. Almost, you could like play them side by side and they'd almost be identical. So, that's, and David has some, different names for some of the stuff that different categories. And so he's over the year, he's been doing it over 10 years. So, he's very knowledgeable on, discerning, well, this is definitely not a coyote right here, or this could be, but he's never going to come out either and say, yes, this is a Sasquatch, because unless the person who's recorded it says, yeah, I saw them make the noise, then he would never claim that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's where we get into the catch-22 of everything in this field. That, well, there's no experts, right? And you're right. There's no experts on Sasquatch, but there are experts on bears, moose,
Right.
known animals. And when you can get those experts to listen to this and then dispel, well, hey, I can tell you what it's not.
Right. And that's a lot of times the only thing you can do.
Absolutely. Process of elimination.
Right.
And
Right.
by God, you can start eliminating some of this stuff for so long. What are you left with? You're left with a,
an undiscovered entity. Yeah.
Absolutely.
mm-hmm.
All right. So the next one is called Shout Out in Response.
Shout out. Let it all out. Here we go. Wow. If I didn't know we were doing a show on Sasquatch sounds, I would almost say that's like you're sitting on the edge of Puget Sound and you hear the orcas. These are land bands. So think about that capacity, again, you talk about, to be able to push that sound and get that kind of echo in the body. That's incredible. I really like that one. That one may be my favorite.
That one you can tell it's quite a distance away, but because of the way the geography is around where I live, there's a bit of the hill that prior to the Uwharrie Mountain itself, and then you have the hill that goes up, the foothills, if you will, and before that, then you have the holler, and that surrounds my property. So it does make for good echo.
If it wasn't so freaky by not knowing what it was, you could fall asleep to that sound. That's it's kind of soothing. It really is.
Yeah.
And what did you refer to it as? A land whale?
Land whale.
Yeah, land whale, exactly. I have a few of those like that. And, the listeners need to understand that these are just examples of the categories that I have. And for each one that I keep, we probably toss 20 or 30 out.
Wow.
You know what I mean? 'Cause this is like, okay, these are something that is definitely worth keeping and sharing. And, these we'll just put in the back corner and maybe look at them later. But this is definitely the cream of the cream here. And all right, so now this next one, here's where we get into the rabbit hole.
Good.
This sounds to me like a voice, and it sounds very distressed. And it sounds like in the beginning, and it could just be me, but I've had other people tell me that at the very beginning, the voice sounds like it's saying, "Please save me." And then from there, I don't know. Other people have their opinions of what they think it sounds like. But this was really extremely creepy. This was in the middle of the night, and there was nothing before it and nothing after it as far as like, was there people out there talking, or was it? No, this was complete silence. This thing knocks off, and then complete silence again. So, it sounds like a distressed voice to me.
Go. Henry and I both have goose pimples going on right now.
That made me want to throw up. That one, it literally sounds like somebody, at least at some point, saying, "Please help me."
Yeah, please help me, or please save me, and then sounds almost like they say, "Why something something?" And
all right, we're going to cross that line one more time because I know I brought this up before. As no disrespect, and with this political correctness world that we live in right now, you got to make sure that everything is CYA. There has been, and this has gone on for years, a lot of description of voices that have been heard that sounds like somebody with Down syndrome. And that's not a slam at that. It's just that speech impediment. And that's what I get out of it. And with the dialogue or dialect, which is being spoken, it's terrifying. Because I get the same thing out of it too. It's crying for help.
Yeah, no, and
I know I'll tell you, when I came across that, when I was analyzing, I literally had to stop what I was doing and leave the room because it just really. I played it a few times, and I'm like, dear Jesus God, what is going on out there? And it's still makes my eyes water a little bit when I hear that, because
Yeah.
it almost sounds like somebody's really, really needing help.
Like I said, it made me feel like I wanted to puke because it was so, to me, intelligible of what it was saying. But to your point, Vance, I just wanted to touch back on that quick. Not being disrespectful to anybody out there that's listening. I know we have a wide range of audience, but that is
Right.
a characteristic that has been brought up by many people in the field. Some people who even had eyewitness encounters. Right? You can go back to many episodes of the Sasquatch Chronicles and hear some of the gentlemen from the South that have had encounters. Describe it that way, and nobody is trying to be disrespectful when they say it. It's just a comparative analysis, right? So,
right.
I just wanted to put that out there and just give you a little support, Vance, because
Absolutely.
and so
and I've heard that before too, Vance.
Yeah, anybody with half a brain would know you're not trying to be offensive,
Right?
No,
Right.
All right, so
anymore. So
we'll chew on that one for a minute, but this next one is really weird because it almost sounds like somebody's carrying around a doll that talks. You know, the old timey dolls that would you pull the string and they'd go mee, mee, or whatever. But the only thing is, it sounds like a voice says hi, and then another one says hi there.
we're gonna play it up right now. That's disgusting.
You might have to. I don't think I looped that one. That's creepy.
That one is disgusting, and it scares the hell out of me. I hate that.
Yeah, that one
is bad.
sounds like children almost talking back and forth.
Hi, Chucky, want to play?
I know. No, hell no. I'm not coming outside, but thanks for the invite.
Yeah.
Okay. That's messed up. Oh, I hate that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the last two that just played, this one and the one prior to that, there's not the audio dynamic of power. It seems relatively close to the microphone and a little bit softer vocalization or whatever. So it's not in this big bellow type of thing to sound and whatever. I'm just saying it sounds like it's a little bit closer to the microphone and a little bit more docile maybe. But creepy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Very.
I'm surprised at the end of these, you don't hear like a screen door and the door locking and the window slamming shut after that.
Yeah, I've done that a few times. Trust me.
I'm sure you have.
All right, so this next one, I definitely want to get this one in because my mom is 78 years old and she's a Christian lady and she knows about, the EVP thing and good and evil and blah, blah, blah. And so she was over at my house one time and this was about a year ago. I said, hey, Mom, you want to go out back and do an EVP session with me? And she's like, sure. And I couldn't believe it, my mom. So we went back there and this is where I took the picture of that black mass thing that you guys saw. This is the exact location. You can hear me and my mother. We're walking along. I'm talking, and I'm talking about a neighbor of mine that I'd only met a few times, and we were talking about his cow farm or whatever. And in the middle of me talking, you hear a voice in it. I'll just tell you. Well, I don't know if I should tell you what I think it says or not. I'll let everybody decide. But to me, it sounds like they're. Well, just go ahead and play it, and then we'll talk about what I think it says.
This is the unknown EVP.
Yeah. She told me. I only met him twice. Yeah. She told me. I only met him twice. Yeah. She told me. I only met him twice. Yeah. Told me. I only met him twice. Yeah. She told me. I only met him twice.
Sounds like it's saying, they're breaking me. They're breaking me. That's what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm. Well, whatever it is, it's whispering in the microphone.
Yeah. Something else right there, I tell you that.
Yeah, and at first it sounds like it says, "Are you there?" Almost like it can hear us walking, or it knows we're there, and it's saying, "Are you there?" And to me, what it sounds like it's saying is, "They're burning me."
Mm. You want to play that again, Sean? And maybe people can correspond with Julie, because she's had more time listening to it.
Yeah. She told me. And I've only met him twice. Yeah. She told me. And I've only met him twice. Yeah. She told me. And I've only met him twice. Yeah. She told me. And I've only met him twice. Yeah. She told me. And I've only met him twice.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I get they're burning me thing. I mean, I could, but it could be a variety of different things, but I could get and since you picked that up, Julie, that puts it on the dark side, right? That's not an angelical good message. No, that's something really dark and ominous.
Yeah, and let me tell you, when Vanessa was there, we were walking past that area, and I did not tell her that that's where I recorded that EVP. I just wanted to see if she would pick anything up as we were walking by, and she stopped and she said, "There's a spirit here of somebody that had TB and they died," and this was during when TB was a big outbreak, across the states, and a lot of times they would burn the bodies because of the contagion factors and everything they didn't know about TB like we do today. And she said, whoever, I'm picking up a spirit that was had TB and basically their body was burned.
Okay, we need a puke bag for this show, don't we?
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, that one
does give you that pit in your stomach, man.
Yeah, that freaked me out quite a bit because it was so close, and it was almost like, you there? It was like they heard us walking and talking and got my attention by saying that into the recorder. But I didn't even tell Vanessa what I thought the voice was saying when I sent her the clip, but I didn't tell her beforehand where I found the clip at. I just told her, listen to this clip. This is some stuff that's happened out here, da-da-da. And that's how that happened. But we have 5 more to play. Are we going to be able to get them in, you think?
Yep, let's get it through.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So that's that one. And people can, let us know what they think they hear it saying. I'm totally up to hearing people's opinions, thoughts, criticism, any of it. I'm transparent. I'm just sharing this with you guys. So hopefully somebody that's doing some recording themselves has some of these experiences or have had similar things, and they can, reach out. So, well, the next one is, I have no idea what's being said, but the very first words, it sounds like the word Jeff, which is my husband, Jeff. And something like Jeff, I can't tell you what the rest of it is, but it's definitely a sentence. And we were out at the fire pit when this happened. See, Jeff and I, and we did not hear this. And there's 2 of them on here that, there's 2 of them on here that were recorded that night, and this is one of them.
Here we go.
You might have to play that again.
I'll play that a couple of times, Julie.
Almost sounds like a mockery.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a guy imitating you, Julie, talking to Jeff.
Exactly.
Way to go, Jeff.
That's exactly what David said.
Oh, really? Well, see,
Yeah,
now
he's
I'm
like,
starting to not feel so weird anymore.
no. See, a lot of this stuff, he's like, man, this sounds like something's trying to mimic your voice, but it's obviously I'm already talking in the background while this is going on. See, so that freaked us out because Jeff and I were sitting out there, and after after I caught that, it was several days later when I finally got around to going through that. But I played it to Jeff and I said, did I say something weird like this to you when we were out there? And he's looking at me like, no, where did you find that? Where did that come from? And then I told him and he's like, ew, he didn't like that either.
Ew. Yeah. Ew. Ew. That's a good way to sum it up. Ew.
Ew, he didn't like that. But unfortunately I didn't have those two lined up to play back to back. But if you could take the one that says odd vocals after Jeff Brent and not play that one right now and skip to the next two, because those have to do with this voice that we just heard. The next one is the one Henry said, asked me if I ever caught anything saying yoo-hoo or similar to that. And yes, this is the one.
All right, here we go. Just for Henry May, that special request, just for you, big boy. Yeah. Well, Henry?
Well, apparently they do say yoo-hoo.
It's something else, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what else is it going to be? What else is going to be out there in the woods yelling, yoo-hoo, yoo-hoo?
Oh, my God. Yeah.
A parakeet or a parrot,
No.
because
And
Julie has all sorts. Yeah.
No, this one really is freaky because I can just see something like Vance said earlier. Do you see something? There's something out there like the clown from It, Oh, hey, come down in the gutter.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's kind of what it reminds me of.
Those phantom clowns were pretty prevalent for a while. Could have been a phantom clown. Just look out your window.
We have a special guest in the chat room. Shout out to Shannon LeGros, former guest on our show, and of course, host of her own podcast,
Shannon,
Into the Fray Radio.
Absolutely a pleasure to have Shannon in the chat room with us.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so let's try to get through these. I know we're already cutting in our time here, but this next one is called Are Both Voices Julie? With a question mark, and it's kind of a snag thing because you can hear what sounds like a voice yells Jeff, and then you can also hear me talking in the background at the fire pit to Jeff.
We ready for... Here we go.
That's loud too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Thoughts? I'm glad I live here.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
Holy crap. Yeah, but it almost sounds like someone yells Jeff, and then
Mhm.
he and I are sitting at the fire pit, and that sounds closer to the recorder than we were, and we
Right.
didn't hear anything yell Jeff. I mean, that's the whole premise behind that. Surely we would have heard somebody yell Jeff.
Well,
If
for the
that
amount
was-
of times that you're picking up stuff on the recording that you haven't heard while you're out there, and here you hear it on the recording. What the hell is going on? I mean, what skinwalker crap is happening there?
I don't know, but does anybody want to buy a property outside of Uwharrie Forest?
Yeah. Well, we'll talk to Mr.
No.
Bigelow. He might be interested.
Yeah, right. Okay, so the last one, we'll save that other one for the next show. But this last one I saved for this show last because this one really upset me. It took me several times listening to it before I thought I knew what it was saying, but it is not cool. It's not cool. It's yeah. I'll give a little bit of premise. I was out at the fire pit for several hours by myself, and then I went inside, and then when I analyzed this audio, I realized that this was caught a half an hour after I came in from being outside. Was this particular recording, and it will be looped.
We ready?
Yep.
Here we go. Is this the one I think it is?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one that gets me each time. That one makes me want to grab the barf.
Yeah,
bag.
it's calling you, Julie.
It's calling your name.
And the first time he sent that to me, Julie and I listened to it probably 12 times. But now that I'm listening to it again, there's such an electronic value to it. I don't know if anybody else is picking it up, but there seems to be almost this audible electronic
digital.
Yeah, I guess that's how I want it. Distorted electronically.
Yes, thank you. It's really creepy. And when you hear it, to me, and I'll tell everybody what it sounds like to me, and I could be way off, but it sounds like something says, "Julie, please come out." And then you hear a second voice, almost like a whisper, say, "Come out." And then the original voice again saying, "Come out of the house."
Right. No.
So if you want to play it again, and then, we can compare.
Here we go. One more time. Yeah. Something else right there.
You still up to going to the property, Sean?
Of course. I'm not afraid of this one. Let me tell you. Maybe I'll interact with it.
Yeah. We have done that too, by the way. We've done some things out there at the fire pit, and there's a friend of mine named Don Tart, and he does the spirit box thing, and we were all sitting at the fire pit, and there's this little girl, the voice that I've got a few times, it sounds like a little girl, and I think somebody in the Facebook group said there's a little girl, or that's a little girl, one of the high thing. And Don Tart says, if there's a little girl that can hear us, please tell us who is standing up at the fire pit. And of course it was Jeff. We were all sitting down, and this voice, plain as day, a little girl voice comes through, and it says, Jeff. And Jeff's standing there, he's like, oh no, the hell, that didn't just happen. He goes, and he sat down quick. He's like, I ain't standing in a fire pit. That wasn't me. So yeah, that we've had those experiences out there. Something is interacting.
Yeah. Kind of go.
Okay, LeGros, you want to go too, huh? Okay.
Let's go. Come on.
I will stay out at the fire pit all night if somebody will stay out there with me, Vance. I'm not going to coach you in bacon grease or rub you with honey or anything.
You'll just have a squirt gun with it and just spray it on me. Oh, sorry. Did I miss?
I'll do it. Like this is, I'm intrigued, and I really am, because it's not often you get a situation where you can get so much audio, and the fact that it hasn't been driven away, right? Now, I'm not saying it's a habituation or anything like that. What I'm saying is, obviously, Julie lives in an area that's got highly frequented traffic of something that likes her property and makes a hell of a lot of noise when it's out there on it, right? And you'd be stupid if you didn't want to go out there and check it out if you were really an enthusiast or investigator, because this is something else. This is quite amazing, actually. And I'm thankful you shared it with us, Julie. And
I appreciate you guys letting me come on and share it. And, I'm certainly not saying it's this or it's that, because I don't know. I can just tell you that, man, there's sometimes when I'm out there and I will get a creepy feeling like I'm being watched, or that there's something standing behind me when I'm out there late at night by myself. And I've been known to just get up and come on in the house and shut the door and call it a night, because, when the hair on your arm starts standing up, something's up.
Because you have common sense. I'm sorry I went inside. How dare I not want to stay out and get ripped apart?
Yeah, right.
I know. And then it's like, oh, Julie, please come out of the house. And, no, I'm good. Thanks.
No. Yeah.
I'm staying further in the house now, pal.
My protective comforter will help me. Yeah. No.
But, that's just a snapshot of what's been going on. It's been 3.5 years. I've caught some strange pictures and stuff going on out there, but as far as seeing a Sasquatch creature on my property, no, I have not seen one. And I am open to people who would love to come and experience sitting out the fire pit, because those who have come have not been disappointed.
No, clearly
make it happen, because this
clearly.
is.
I don't know, Sean. You say you wanted to sit out at the fire pit all night. It just reminds me. It just reminds me of when George Knapp sat in a freaking lawn chair out at Skinwalker all night,
right,
by himself. Yep. I'm like, I don't know, dude. That takes a serious set of.
I don't know. You just have to really want it. Come on,
you have to have somebody else out there with you.
24 years, right?
Right.
For my entire life, I've wanted something like this, and this is sounds that are alluring and attractive and scary. And why not? You have to. And you know what? I make a great appetizer for something, that's for sure. Just get the whole thing.
Well, as long as, like you said, as long as somebody out there with you, so that we can share the story about the life that you led while you're being snacked on. I'm good with that.
We can have some Canadian bacon too.
I get it.
Vance, don't let the fat fool you, man. I move quick, man. I'm a quick.
I already made reference to that.
Yeah,
you're half my height, but yet you can outwalk me, and my legs are about as tall as you are, and yet you outstep me at. So yeah, I know you can move.
I'm going to make it earn its dinner. That's what Julie, thanks for taking the time while you're out on vacation to come and do this with us.
Yeah.
We wanted to do this last week, and we couldn't because you had some weather and we had all kinds of things going on. But I was really thankful you were able to join us. Very appreciative, and I know the listeners were too. So thank you very much. Really,
my pleasure. And I look forward to doing one more with you guys, and then settling up on some of this really. I mean, this is like super creepy stuff, but then I have stuff that's just in a whole nother level.
And if this wasn't enough. All right, folks, I'm Sean Forker. That's Henry May down there in the bottom square. It's like Hollywood Squares here. That's Vance over there. Guys, why don't you tell them where folks can find Julie? Why don't you tell folks where they can find you first? You are our guest, after all.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can find me on Facebook, of course, Julie Rench. But if you want to email me, julie.rench@yahoo.com, ask questions, give me your opinions, thoughts, whatever. I'm completely open. If you'd like to send some of my audio directly to you so you can analyze it yourself, I'm more than happy to do that as well.
Well, that's very generous, Julie.
Absolutely. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Vance, where can folks find you?
Sitting under the palm tree here. You can find me on Facebook, Vance A. Nesbitt, or on Instagram, Vance _ Nesbitt _ NRML. But feel free, reach out, put comments in. You can put comments in here at, Sasquatch Experience on the Experiencers. If there's still more that you want to add, Sean and I and Henry check in on that, along with James Baker, who is out on assignment, by the way. He might be sitting in that lawn chair for all we know.
Probably is. He
might be, but yeah.
Fine.
Henry, it's your
I
turn.
am on Facebook, H. Henry B. May the 4th. You can find me. You can also see my weekly videos, HBO's Crypto Corner, my weekly cryptid updates.
Absolutely.
On YouTube.
Fantastic.
You folks. Right down to the bottom of the screen, you can find us on all our social media, Sasquatch Experience on Facebook, Instagram, at Squatch EXP on Twitter. You can email us, squatchexperience@gmail.com. And, of course, I'm Sean, the Fort Chop Forker. You can find me everywhere by using my name, at Sean Forker. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I don't hide. You know where to find me, folks. Again, thanks for listening. Special thanks to our executive producers, Tom Mihawk, who, by the way, recently celebrated a birthday. Happy birthday, Tom. We love you, buddy.
Yep.
And Brian Corbin. Folks, thanks for listening. We'll see you actually literally next week as we come back with another episode. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Oh, Henry.
Y'all be good at it.
There it is.
Yeah.
Keep on squatching.
You've been listening to Sasquatch Experience. Please rate and review wherever this podcast is consumed. To share your experience, visit us on Facebook or email us, squatchexperience@gmail.com. Keep on squatching.